there's nobody, I think, probably on this roster who's probably closer to Nolan and sort of spending time with him and working out and all that stuff. Has that been like this winter, kind of with all this sort of hanging over what's going on here? How's that going? How's he processing it? And what do you do kind of in the liminal space?
Yeah, my body feels good right now. You know, I think my stomach's dialed in.
You look healthy.
No, Nolan. You know, he's working. He looks good right now, and so obviously, you know, things are going on, things are being said. But my role for him is to be a friend. So it's just that's what I am to him. So he looks good. Obviously, everybody here knows he's working. So you know, no one has to worry about that. But yeah, it looks good. He looks really good right now. So looking forward to it.
Lars, is there anything you can do in an off season to ensure like health? Is there anything you can do training wise?
Yeah, I think so, and you know, just trying to check all the boxes, right? Like make sure your nutrition's good, you know, make sure your body's in the right places, going to different people and seeing those people, and trusting the staff here, and which they obviously do a tremendous job of doing. And so, you know, I think this off season I trained a little bit differently, kind of not. I mean, I guess, yeah, training differently, making sure I'm taking every step possible to be healthy, and then stop running into walls. You know, those are kind of the main points for me this off season for sure.
You say training differently. What does that look like for you?
You know, more traditional stuff in the early off season. As you get closer, kind of ramping up more athletic, agility, speed stuff, where you know it's more just kind of explosive and different. I don't know how to put this, but make sure your body moving in more like in kind of vulnerable spots, in different spots, and just making sure that, you know, as a kid you never got hurt because you're running around doing different things, different activities every single day. As you get older and you specialize in baseball, obviously, I think your body kind of gets in places where it's used to certain things, but then becomes unfamiliar when your body gets contorted in weird spots. And so just making sure that your body's still comfortable and can move in certain areas, just because you're not doing it day to day, you know, in your training or on a baseball field, you can still kind of try to emulate those things in your training and move differently, and just so, you know, kind of, I guess, be a kid again.
Lars, with your personality, I mean, even when you're a rookie in the clubhouse, you brought your Larsness into the clubhouse, let alone now as a veteran. Can you describe your pride in being a personality and how it helps the ball club?
Yeah, I just think being yourself is the best way to help a team. You know, I think, you know, putting on a front or doing certain things isn't going to help anybody. You know, I think guys, especially when you're with each other 162 days in a row, basically, they can see through that. And so it's just like making sure you are who you are, whether it's, you know, being dumb like me or being, you know, stoic and, you know, so sergeant, like, you know, it's just be who you are. And I think everybody will know that, you know, okay, we have this guy, you know, you can kind of get a good gauge of relationships and how everything's going, where, you know, if you're one guy one day and another guy another day, it's tougher to gel. And so we play a sport where we're with each other, you know, way too often to have that happen. And so I just think that you know, being a guy that's been here, you just want to be consistent and be yourself, so other guys can kind of follow suit and feel comfortable in their own skin.
Lars, what was your reaction when you heard that they're basically kind of turning the team over to you and Gorman and Donnie and Jordan Walker and Mason, that they want you to be the leaders, they want you to be the core of the team? What was your reaction, and how do you think that can work out if you guys take ownership of this?
Yeah, it's exciting, you know, and I think I'm looking forward to it, you know, and that's the people have asked, you know, what's going to be different. I'm not going to change very much. You know, I'm going to be who I am. That's kind of what led me to become here. Obviously, you know, there's a maturation process throughout this whole thing, and you know, I wouldn't say I'm exactly who I am from 2021. You know, but just like I said, making sure that I am who I am, so the guys can come up to me and, you know, ask me questions, feel comfortable with themselves, and you know, I think that's a huge part of it as a young kid, you know, coming up here. Just like you wanted to make sure that you can talk to certain guys, and seeing them, how they carry themselves was greatly important to me. And so want to carry myself obviously professionally, but then also at the same time be who I am, and so guys know, like, okay, this guy isn't just turning a new leaf and all of a sudden he's this completely different person. Guys know who I am. You know, I'm not going to hide that from them, but also making sure that they feel comfortable enough to be able to come up to me, ask me any questions, and kind of lead by that, and then also rag on them a little bit too.
Throughout the weekend, we've seen a lot of enthusiasm from your teammates. How promising is that for you to see a guy like Jordan Walker excited about the future and what the new system is going to look like? You guys all played together last year, but now I feel like there's more of an enthusiastic presence from everyone. Yeah,
what comes to mind is like the youthful energy, you know, and that's what it feels like. You guys are sitting here talking to me like I'm freaking 35 years old, and I'm like, what's going on here? You know, I'm 27, easy, you know, but that's what's great about it. I think that you know, we're excited. We're excited about what's going to happen. I think you just have a bunch of guys in here that are ready to compete, kind of play with their you know, hair on fire. And you only know what you know, and so it's like, you know, we got a bunch of guys that are great baseball players, obviously, but haven't necessarily experienced a ton at this level, including myself. You know, I've been to the playoffs twice, you know, won the division, but, you know, past that, not much. You know, thankfully we got Wilson and Sonny and Miles and these older guys that have, you know, been through it more, and Wilson obviously has won a World Series, but, you know, you just kind of, you like I said, we're kind of just coming in here and just being like, let's compete every single day, let's get better every single day, let's grow as a group. And so I think we're excited about that part of it, and so that's the optimistic side of it that I think we're really excited about.
Well, if people mention your name, usually they talk about your potential. How do you see that as an athlete? Like, they talk about who you can be. How do you bridge that gap? How do you get to where everybody thinks you can be? Because you have all these tools and you're a hard worker. How do you bridge that gap?
Yeah, like you said, obviously, you know, first thing first is the work. You know, you got to make sure that that's there. But then for me, it's just making sure that I'm on the field. And I think that when I've had those stretches of good baseball, it's just been, you know, uninterrupted, which has been great. You know, and so just taking care of myself. I just think that making sure that I'm in a good place every single day, doing everything that I can possible, whether that's, you know, like I said, nutrition, hydration, in the weight room, stretching, whatever it may be, you know, just making sure that I'm in a good spot. And so, you know, unfortunately, I don't really know exactly what to do, you know, when my back's in a weird position, I bang up against the wall, different things like that. Like, I think those are kind of some freak stuff, but again, there's stuff nonetheless. And so just want to make sure that, you know, I trust my ability, but it's just making sure that, you know, I'm at a point where it's uninterrupted and I can do all those things. And so I gotta just get, you know, making sure that I'm doing everything I can to be there.
How do you balance that aim for durability with the aggressive way that you want to play the game, making sure you're not sacrificing anything?
Yeah, those are like, that's like an innate thing. There's not a, you know, whether it's, you know, pick up basketball when I was 9 years old, there wasn't a time where I wasn't trying to go out there and win. So, you know, say what you want, it's just not going to happen. I just don't think that that's part of who I am. But, you know, just also understanding, you know, where some of your limitations are too. You know, just, I'm not going to run straight into a wall with a ball 15 rows deep or something like that, you know, but it's just, you know, just kind of understanding the situation a little bit better. I think that's the way it is, but never want to take the aggression away from it at all.
Lars, the overarching theme of the offseason, as you know, has been creating opportunities for this next core, this next generation of Cardinals, and hoping they run with it. I mean, while this can go two ways, there is something unique about having a chance to represent what could be the next era of Cardinals baseball. What do you like about this group and the chances that you guys have to be that?
I think a lot of the guys came up with each other, whether it was like, you know, me, Donnie Gorman, Burley kind of came along a little bit after. You know, Pedro, I've known Pedro for a while now too, and then you have like the Walker, the Wynn, you know, and then Vic obviously came a little bit later too. Mike came in and joined in as well, but I think like, as a group, we're, you know, similar in age, same interests, similar interests, I should say. Some of these younger guys coming, I don't know what they're talking about, but you know, I just think that we get along, you know, which is cool too. We're an athletic bunch, and so it's just like taking pride in that, understanding that like this is our time to take that step. You know, like I've been since 2021. Obviously, we know, you know, the marquee guys, and Albert came in 22 and came in and did his obviously Albert Pujols thing. And so it's just been like, us as a group, we've been been able to hang back, do our thing, get our flowers wherever they may be, but then kind of, not take any of the brunt of it. But I think now there's no hiding anymore. So it's just like, we got to be ready. And so that's an exciting part about it. We're going to have some growing pains, I think, as a group, but we're going to go through it together, which is nice. Unfortunately, I think when I was younger, Nolan and Goldie took a lot of that on themselves, and they took it on the chin and didn't really have anybody to kind of look around and take any of the blame. And that's my fault. Like I didn't step up earlier, whatever it was. I just think that they had to do it. That was kind of the part of their role. But I think now I'm going to be okay doing it, obviously taking that fall. But it's just, I think it will be me. It'll also be Mason. It might be Pedro or Donnie or Burley or whoever. It's just, I think as a group, we can kind of take pride in the praises, but also the falls, so we can kind of grow together, which will be good or maybe bad. Who knows?
Lars, on the coaching side with Brent Brown as the new coach, what has the communication been like with him, and just kind of what have you learned about him working with him?
Brownie's been great, man. Had some conversations with him real early, and then been sending him videos and stuff throughout the off season of the swing. And I don't know if you guys have much time to talk to him. Interesting cat for sure. I mean, he's a rat, which is a positive thing for me at least. He's a hitting rat, and that's kind of like the highest praise you can give a hitting coach, is somebody that cares like that. But he knows a lot of things about the swing that I don't. And so being able to talk to him early, he was giving me stuff. I was going back with him, and then, we were kind of having these conversations. But it's just like having a guy that's convicted in what he knows and what he teaches, and then me implementing it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, there's a reason why this guy's made it so far in this game. And so it's just like cool to have those conversations with him. And I'm excited. I haven't even met him face to face before. I feel like I have, because we've been sending so many videos back and forth with each other. But he's been great for me this offseason. So I'm really looking forward to a full season with him, where we can just kind of, go back and forth with each other, talk. And then we obviously just want the best thing for each other. And that's, success.
This is your third hitting coach time here in St. Louis. What is that relationship like as you try to develop kind of where you guys are both coming from and meeting in the middle? Maybe what's this part of the process like for you as a hitting coach?
Yeah, I mean, early on in 21 and 22, we always had Jeff, and me and him would go at it, which was great. Like, he would tell me something, and maybe he as a young kid, it was like he was like the only one that I could at least like talk to and speak my mind to, because I'm not going to say it to anybody else, because everybody else on the team felt like they were like 30 plus, so it's like, all right, I got to, So then me and Jeff would go at it, but it was great because I had so much respect for him and his knowledge of the game, and he knew so many things. So I would kind of just question him just to see like what he knew, and it was always came back great. And then during that time, Turner was the assistant, so it was kind of like from Jeff to Turner, it was easy because, I already had a prior relationship with Turner coming in. Brownie, it's a little bit different because I have no prior relationship with him, but he's done a great job of reaching out and kind of building that relationship. Like I said, I've never even met him face to face, but I already kind of have a good understanding of who he is, and also he's a big name in the baseball world. So anybody you ask has an idea of who he is, and so I'm really excited to look forward to getting to know him better. But it won't be much because we've had conversations already, and so it's like I'll go in there, tell him what we've been working on, but then also I guess get to know him. But yeah, I feel like I already do.
Lars, you talked about guys like yourself being able to hang back a little bit before because of guys like Goldie and things like that. Not being able to do that anymore, you said it's kind of exciting. Is there a way where that turns into pressure, and is that potentially good or bad, or how do you guys handle it?
Yeah, I mean, potentially. I guess it's just how you go about it. I'm not like too up to date on like what's really going on, so I don't really know. But in terms of just like, the other guys, I can't speak upon it. But yeah, I mean, I guess everything comes with pressure. But I don't mean to say that like we didn't have any pressure prior. We're still playing in the big league, trying to compete, win every game in the world, win the World Series. Like everybody that has a uniform still has a certain amount of pressure on them. It's just now, I guess, it's just not. It doesn't feel like it's just two guys. You know, like it's a whole team that kind of has to deal with it. Where, you know, things would go wrong. It was, you know, I felt like, you know, probably Nolan and Goldie just had to take the fall for it. But now it's just the entire team, and so, you know, Wilson's back there doing stuff, but you know, he's going to be back there, and he knows what it's like, you know, to be at the top, and that's what's cool too, is we still got guys like him that have been there, done that, won a World Series, and know what it's like. So, so yeah, when it does go bad, we can just blame Wilson. So I don't know what I was talking about before, but you know, yeah.
Lars, speaking of Wilson, it's one thing for the front office and coaching staff to say they believe in the other four. It's another thing for two guys to decide to stay and not move destinations, or someone like Sonny to say it's the young guys team, for Wilson to make a sacrifice and change positions to be here. What does that mean for you, that the belief and the opportunity they see with this team?
Yeah, it means everything. You know, towards the end of the season, there was obviously some like mixed signals of what was going on heading into the offseason, right? But Wilson was hurt, and he came on a road trip with us, and me and him and a few other guys, we kind of just sat back, and I asked him, like, hey, where's your head at? You know, what are you thinking? And he was like, bro, I want to be here. Like, I want to be here. I want to help out where I can. I want to lead these guys. And so from that point, I was like, oh, all right, like, cool. Like, you know what I mean? And so to hear that from a veteran like that means a ton, because it's just like, all right, like, I know where he's at, you know, like where his head is and all those things, and he signed over here. And so it's just like cool to hear. Sonny, obviously, you know, he's had an unbelievable year last year for us, and so you know, he could, you know, I don't know what his situation is, but you know, he's obviously coming back, and so it means a lot. And also, it's just like cool that, you know, they're saying those things, and so we can just be ourselves, and then still lean on them though, because, you know, like I said, they've had their peaks and their valleys throughout their career, a lot more than we have. So being able to still lean on guys like that is important, and still something that we need. But so it's nice to be able to have those guys.